So we recently got some Fable leaks that opened up conversations that were kind of painful before we got the leaks, but I wanted to address them now. And before I even get started, I just need to say how absolutely neutral I am when it comes to like social and political. I didn't even vote this year, guys. If you're gonna be mad at me for that. Which is one of the reasons why I'm making this video, to kind of like maybe hopefully extinguish some of the fires that are surrounding Fable right now. Because ultimately, we don't know much about this game. But we did get some recent leaks about this game, and Jez Gordon could have made some really revealing things about the intent. Now let's be honest, this character compared to Eve, Lara Croft, and Jill Valentine is a solid 4 or 5 out of 10. You know, she's a 6 in Alabama, she's a 7 in Arkansas, she ain't that great. She's got a big ass forehead. But let's talk about Lara Croft, Jill, and Eve. If there were sequels to any of these games where we found that they were just straight up absolutely unattractive, they made a lot of modifications to the character to not be part of the male gaze, and it's obviously a political statement to not objectify women anymore, even though they're made out of pixels, then we would have a conversation about the W word, which I don't like. I would just talk about tasteful and distasteful, right? There's games that you play that you feel like you're playing in an HR video, and I don't think that it's fair. I don't think it's fair to be judged for men that are attracted to good-looking women. I don't think that there's a problem with having good-looking women in video games. That would be a distasteful enhancement because ultimately it's obviously in pursuit of somebody's beliefs that they're pouring into the game. However, for Fable, we have had 3 games so far. All 3 have had different protagonists. If this was a long-lasting character that was obviously made for the male gaze in the previous 3 games, I would be like, yo, what did you guys do to my character that is atrocious? You destroyed her. She was beautiful. I appreciated her beauty, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now you ruined it. They didn't do that. In the first one, you can only pick a male. In the second one, you could pick between male and female, and in the third one, you can do the same. All 3 of those were different characters, making it so, in my opinion, it was just a creative decision that hopefully lends itself to the narrative. Because the narrative seems to be like you were the underdog and we don't know anything about your past, because unlike other previous Fable games, we don't know much about this character's past. You don't grow up with the character. In Oakvale, you were a little boy, then you grew to a teenager, then you grew to a full-on supervillain or hero, and that was the point of the game. You also did that in Bowerstone South with the second one, and you were kind of a little bit more matured in the third one, but ultimately, like, your character grew up in front of you, and in this one, you're kind of just like this character. At least that's the way that it's being portrayed to me. She looks like she's in her, like, low 20s, maybe mid 20s. I feel like her past will unravel in front of us, and we will find out reasons to why she was the underdog, and hopefully, maybe, I'm fingers crossed, we will get some reasons as to why she just looks like an average NPC inside the game. Because ultimately, that's what she looks like. She looks like an NPC. She doesn't look too ugly. She doesn't look too attractive. She's just kind of there. Reeling back from this, I also wanted to bring something up because this was resurfaced. This has been coming up and down for a long time now, and I've been seeing like the same screenshot. It says Sweet Baby right here. We all know what that means. However, if you go into Fable and you look into the production companies, it says Eidos. These guys made Soul Reaver? These guys made Soul Reaver, I believe. I'm pretty sure. That's how old I am. My age is showing. However, if you look into games like God of War Ragnarok, they didn't completely remove Sweet Baby from here, so they're not like censoring it, like it's right there, it's still public information, but there's something that everybody should know. This public information is editable. You can add data that will be seen by millions of people to get cool badges if you contribute to the IMDb. I think we all need to consider that this is a very divisive game. It's a console exclusive for Xbox, who has been taking massive amounts of L's and also eating up the market by buying other game companies like Bethesda and Activision Blizzard. That's not good PR, and people don't like that. People don't like Xbox getting good things. I feel as though there's not strong enough evidence, except for the fact that somebody could have either edited that or photoshopped that, but it's clearly been revised as of right now, and Sweet Baby Inc. is clearly still on games that they have been associated with in IMDb's database. So now all we know is that we have a semi-ugly character, and IMDb may have been trolling, but it's not really solidified at all that Sweet Baby even has the slightest bit of involvement. Even if they did, God of War Ragnarok, very good game. I don't think anybody hated it. Ultimately, we don't know context enough about this game. It's unfortunate we don't, but we just simply don't. Recently, Jez Gordon released that there could possibly be a male protagonist choice, which would be very Fable-esque to be able to pick between a male or a female character. In the previous 2 or 3 games, that's what we've received. We've received the option. If the option for this man looks very average, if he just looks like a dude that like kind of just goes to football games and hangs out with the bros, he doesn't look like Channing Tatum or doesn't look like Tom Hardy in Venom, then it would be pretty obvious that the background story of these characters is more likely than not just going to be an average person that turns into a hero through preservation and through believing themselves and all that Disney bullshit. And it's part of the narrative. Regardless to being male, regardless to being female, it would just be part of the narrative. If this game is only about the woman and the rumor's wrong, and the entire time we just hear this woman yapping about how men do nothing but like gaze on the prettier girls, and how she got pulled out of Hero Academy for her busted teeth and like so on and so forth. She got a big ass forehead, whatever. You dial in on the focus a little too much on that or what her sexual orientation is. I think that how hard they focus on that really will be how tasteful the game could be. If they can weave it in there, I would love to see it. Don't care, that's fine. But Fable is like one of the first games I've ever played in my life where you can actually have sex with the same sex.
Are now pronounced husband and husband.
Perhaps we should put our feet up and rest. Oh, that's quite nice.
That was woven into the game, in my opinion, very tastefully. They didn't make a big deal out of it. It was just like, yeah, that's in real life. If you walked around Bowerstone, there might be a guy that thinks you're a good-looking dude, right? Just like there's other girls with hearts above their head, and it depends if you want to pursue it or not. You can do anything you want with that, just like real life. They did not centralize the focus on that. It was more or less about you and the Heroes Guild and Teresa and finding, Jack and all of the story that surrounded it. Before all of this divisiveness happened and before all of these conversations we're having about DEI and inclusiveness in games, people was already kind of doing this stuff and they were already doing it pretty tastefully. What? Another layer to this that everybody seems to be forgetting. This is a game that has humor embedded in its identity. There's a demon door in the first game that you need to guess his name, and there's 4 rocks. When you hit them, they give you a different letter. S-I-T-H. 12-year-old spoiler alert, his name was Hits. But if you're like me when you're 13 years old, you realize that you can spell shits really quickly and you get attacked by balverines. That's cool, but also really funny. You can fart in people's faces and get STDs. Then NPCs will comment on your status. They make fun of you. That's actually a part of the game, going up behind a chicken and punting that thing as hard as you can. And it looks like they're retaining a lot of that. I've heard a lot of rumors that you're going to get chased by a giant demon-looking chicken. We saw the hero getting different types of feedback from all the townspeople as she walked through one of the cities. Someone even gives her like a sarcastic good job after kicking a chicken well across a hill. And the game seems to retain that charm and that humor, and I'm wondering if there's going to be stuff in the game that actually bounces some humor into her appearance. Like, instead of playing the whoa poor me card, is she going to get made fun of and make it kind of funny? I would not put it past the original developers of this game to have like a paper bag armor that you could put over her head and suddenly you can get more attraction amongst all of the villagers. And when it comes to these types of decisions, intent is always going to be the #1 ruling factor. If the intent behind this was Fable-style humor, or because she's just a normal villager that turned into an amazing hero by this crazy metamorphosis. Totally acceptable. Not every single female character has to be Stellar Blade or Tomb Raider or Jill Valentine. I hope I didn't ruffle too many feathers with my optimism. God forbid people be a little positive and have a little bit of a twist without creating fake drama and fake controversies for clicks and views. As we slowly begin to digest more of what Playground Games has been cooking for us, because I think we're going to start to see it. My fingers are crossed for the Game of the Year awards, guys. And if you didn't see, I uploaded a video about the Game of the Year awards and my thoughts on that. You might want to check that out. And have a great day, man. Peace. I hope everybody liked the video.
Oh, that's quite nice.